Recording in progress.
I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Milton Board of Zoning Appeals for September 20th, 2022 to order. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item on our agenda is the introduction of board members, starting to my left.
I'm Laura Bentley, Paul Moore's appointee.
Adam Danella.
Hodge Patel.
Don Kurt.
David Jackson.
Zach Stafford.
And Barry Cohen resigned his appointment between the last meeting and this meeting. I'll seek a motion in a second to amend or approve the meeting agenda published by the City of Milton.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We've got a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting by David Jackson and a second by Laura Bentley. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. The next item on our agenda is to approve the meeting minutes from August 16th, 2022. I will open the floor for a motion in a second.
I'll make a motion to approve the past minute meetings from August 16th, 2022.
I'll second that.
We've got a motion from Adam Danella and a second from Don Kurt to approve the August 16th, 2022 meeting minutes as published. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously.
I didn't see the one.
Hey, Hodge.
Sure.
Zach.
I'm sorry,
abstained.
Zach is abstaining.
Yeah.
didn't say that abstain, yeah.
Thank you, sorry about that.
Paul's not here. Just want to make sure everything's on the up and up.
Primary consideration of variances, I'd like to read a statement in to the record. The Board of Zoning Appeals is a quasi-judicial board comprised of resident volunteers of the City of Milton. The board is charged with hearing requests for variances from standards of the zoning ordinance and appeals of administrative determination. With regard to the decisions on primary variances, the board's basis for decisions is provided by these four considerations. A, relief, if granted, would not offend the spirit or intent of the ordinance. B, There are such extraordinary and exceptional situations or conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property that the literal or strict application of the ordinance would create an unnecessary hardship due to size, shape, or topography, or other extraordinary and exceptional situations or conditions not caused by the variance applicant. And C, relief, if granted, would not cause substantial detriment to the public good and surrounding properties. And D, the public safety, health, and welfare are secured and that substantial justice is done. The first primary variance that we'll be hearing this evening is V22-182157 McFerrin Lane, excuse me.
And before we get started, so this is in my neighborhood, and I sit on the HOA board. And despite the fact that I believe I can make an impartial judgment on the case, I'm going to recuse myself, just to avoid any appearance of impropriety. So I will listen for when y'all are done. Thanks.
Can you see the site map on your screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. The property address is 2157 McFarland Lane, and the applicant is seeking the following variances: to allow the proposed pool to encroach into the 75-foot impervious setback, to allow the proposed pool equipment to be at least 10 feet from the property line. The site is a 0.347 acre lot located in the Brayburn subdivision. The property is zone T3 and is in the Crabapple form-based code. The Brayburn final plat, detailed in Exhibit A, shows a flowing stream in the southwestern corner of the property. A 50-foot city undisturbed buffer and 75-foot impervious setback apply to the stream as per section 20.42612. The applicant is proposing to build a pool that is encroaching the 75-foot impervious setback where impervious surface is prohibited. Applicable T3 zoning setbacks for the lot are 15-foot front, 3-foot rear, and 5-foot side. The pool equipment distance requirement of 10 feet from the property line exceeds the current 5-foot side setback requirement in T3 zoning. So think of the pool setback as just universal. So if you're in AG1, the 10 feet applies. If you're in T3, the 10 feet applies, even though the side setback is 5 feet. The applicant met with staff on July 20th to discuss variance requests for the proposed pool and pool equipment location as shown in Exhibit B. The applicant is proposing to encroach the 75-foot impervious setback by 250 square feet, and the pool equipment is proposed to be 3.7 feet from the side property line, where the distance requirement is 10 feet. The applicant is proposing to locate the pool equipment flush with the existing HVAC equipment. The site overall has a steep drop in grade towards the rear of the property with a total drop of grade of 22 feet. The original pool design was rectangular with an arc shape with a total of 714 square feet of pool and 1,200 square feet of pool decking. The redesigned arc-shaped pool, which was designed to minimize the 75-foot impervious setback encroachment, is 589 square feet and 801 square feet of pool decking, as shown in Exhibit C. Overall, a total reduction of 125 square feet for the pool and 399 square feet for the pool decking. Further minimizing the 75-foot impervious setback encroachment, the arc-shaped pool design was proposed to have no pool decking on the southern and western side of the pool. The applicant is proposing 2 flow wells for water quality mitigation, and the overall site is proposed to have 35.8% of lot coverage, which is under the maximum of 6% lot coverage in T3 zoning. Photos of the property are shown in Exhibit D. I think it'd be good to point out, here are the deck stairs, and about 2 or 3 feet, that is where the 75-foot impervious setback starts, and then it travels across the property diagonally. You can see it better in this picture. Go back and see it right here. So here are the stairs, the 75-foot impervious setback going across the property. The applicant received 2 letters of support, one from 2155 McFarland Lane to the east, and Brayburn Neighborhood Association, which owns the property to the west. The Crabapple Crossroads subdivision is to the south, and to my knowledge, there has been no letter of support or opposition. Here is the letters of support. And from the Brayburn Neighborhood Association. The DRB met on September 13th and had the following comments. DRB recommends approval of this variance request. If approved, staff recommends the following conditions. Per the site plan from Survey Land Express Incorporated, received on August 1st, 2022 by the Community Development Department, and water quality treatment to be provided for all new impervious surface as determined by the city development engineer through the permitting process. Any questions for staff?
Can you confirm that the applicant complied with the requirements for proper posting of notice on their property in terms of the signage?
Yes, staff visited the site and the sign was there.
Okay. On the site plan, I believe it was Exhibit C. Can you walk us through on the screen where the initial proposal was for the swimming pool and the pool deck? And then also show us the revision in terms of how they've narrowed that and made it smaller.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
So you can see the turquoise/green. This is the original rectangle shape of the pool. And you can see it encroaches the 75 impervious setback much more. And it's also closer to the 50-foot undisturbed buffer. So what they did is they reduced the side of the pool and arced it to match the 75-foot impervious setback.
Can you show me where the pool equipment goes, where the AC unit is?
Yeah, can't zoom in, but it's right here on the side.
And it goes right next to the HVAC?
Yeah, and I think the photo would show it better right here. It's just going to be flush with the existing HVAC right here. And I believe from talking to the applicant, there were hookup concerns, why they needed that second variance, and they couldn't just put it 10 feet away based off of where the HVAC hookups are.
Could they have put it 10 feet away?
Not from the side because they literally have like.
Right, you don't have
5
a
feet.
house.
Yeah.
Right. So the T3 zoning setbacks, you could build your house 5 feet away, but the pool decking is universal. So it has AG1 form-based code. It follows the same requirements.
So
So that
10
flag-
feet for every piece of pool equipment from every property line. Is that standard across Milton?
Yes.
Correct, yeah.
Thank you. I didn't know that.
On that last picture that you showed us, where the flagstone is right there, that's basically the property line then, right? The one on the right. top right.
Yeah, maybe a foot or two over, like right
Okay.
here. That's when the HOA property is, and it's very flush with trees. So I would say like right here is when the property line.
And the HOA property is not a buildable lot? Is it just common area?
It's completely in look at if you look at the Brayburn final plat, I think it has just barely a sliver outside of the buffers, like right here. So really, yeah, not
Okay.
buildable.
And can you point out where that state buffer is on the association lot?
Yeah, absolutely. So here's the 75. Here's the 50. And then the 25 state buffer right here.
Any additional questions for staff?
Can you go back to the arced pool picture? Was it the city that said to put the arc in there, or is that a design that they wanted?
That was John's and Lisa's idea, but we recommended reducing the encroachment as much as possible, and they came up with that creative
Okay.
design. Yeah. And the DRB was fond of the design, but I didn't know if that was worthy to put in the packet, if they liked the arc.
One last question for you. What was the net difference from their first plan to their second plan in terms of reducing the impact? into
Yeah.
the 75-foot impervious setback.
Yeah, they didn't provide that calculation. They just gave the overall reductions.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if John could provide that,
Okay.
but I can give you the pool reduction size if you'd like.
Yeah, if you have that.
Yeah. So for the rectangular pool design, it was 714 square feet of pool and 1,200 square feet of decking. And they reduced it to 589 square feet of pool and 801 square feet of decking. So respectively, 125 square feet reduction in the pool and 399 square feet reduction in the decking.
About 525 square feet in total.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah, I guess you get maybe the brim of the pool,
Yeah.
the edge of the pool. Yeah, it's going to be pretty close to that number. Yeah.
Just a question. So the flow wells, of course, would be designed after meeting with the city, if this is approved to go ahead, to handle the flow for that particular area that would have been pervious, right?
Correct.
That's
Yeah.
what I- yeah.
And Jerry Oberholzer, he has purview to request 3 flow wells if he feels it doesn't meet it. So yeah, they'll go through the process through permitting.
And just curious, is this development then is on sewers?
Yeah,
Yes.
this is
Okay,
what-
because I was going to say, I don't know how they get a leach field in there.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you. So we'll have a combined 10 minutes for the applicant and the public comment for those wishing to speak in favor of this application. And then we'll follow that up with 10 minutes for anyone wishing to speak in opposition. Would the applicant like to come forward and present their application to us? Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm John Lockwood. I'm a homeowner.
Lisa Lockwood.
And thank you, Board of Zoning Appeals, for listening to us tonight. Thank you.
Can you state your address, please, for the record?
Oh, sorry.
Thanks.
2157 McFarland Lane, Milton, Georgia, 30004.
Thank you. You want to tell us a little bit about your application?
We're requesting a variance to the 75-foot impervious setback, and we're also requesting a variance to the requirement of having all pool mechanicals 10 feet from the line. And we believe that we're not going to, I guess, offend the regulations in the city. We've done everything proactively that we believe we can do to make this a minimum impact. We've shifted the pool, as you saw in the picture, we've shifted it to the right. The other thing was the spa was originally supposed to be a separate part of the pool kind of jutting out. And so what we did, we just shoved the pool into the spa. So the spa is actually sitting in the pool and everything is shifted. The other thing we've done is that we've moved the pool into the bank as much as we can. One of the photographs that's maybe not as clear is that there's a steep bank and there's already a retaining wall. And part of what we're trying to do is get as close as we can to that. And there's a topography challenge. We also plan to install 2 stone walls and to improve I guess, the stability of the embankment. Currently, there's a relatively short wood timber wall, and what we plan to do is put stone walls and kind of have a 2-layer wall. We believe that's going to improve the stability of the bank as well. We've attempted to reduce the amount of impervious space on the lot by only having decking on 2 sides. So 2 sides don't have any decking. We've designed the pool with an arc shape, which is a little bit different. And again, the purpose of that was to reduce the amount of pool into the impervious setback. And also, we wanted to stay as far away from the 50-foot line as well, the setback. The original pool, as already been stated, was 714 square feet. And, when we started looking at what we needed to do, we started reducing the size of that. So it's 589 square feet. There's also already 177 square foot poured concrete patio. And so the actual net increase of decking is 624 feet. So we're just going to go over that. We've designed the pool so no decking, none of the new decking at all is going to encroach into the 75-foot impervious setback. And we will install flow wells to ensure that there is no inappropriate runoff. So we appreciate this opportunity and thank you for listening to our request. And I do want to thank again the Board of Zoning Appeals and also the City Planning Department. They've been very helpful in helping us come up with something that is good for the city and good, hopefully, for us as well.
Can you touch on the location of the pool equipment? Where was the original location that you had considered before going to where the HVAC units are at? Michael, can you pull up that site plan?
You might see from the plan that if we put it to the back, it would be in the pervious section. If we do it to the right, it doesn't impact one neighbor we have on one side, which the heating and air conditioning is on that side anyway. And so the neighbor wouldn't have to see it. On our lot, it kind of goes down a little bit of an embankment to see into the backyard. So you can't see it from the street, but we'll be planting oak leaf hydrangeas to cover that. And so it will be camouflaged really well, even though no one would see it. You barely can see it from the street because of the hill it goes down. But also there's no neighbor on that side. The side of that, our property is only 8.5 or 8.3
8.7 feet.
8.6.
wide to begin with. So that's the reason we need the variance. The lot's not wide enough. It's not 10 feet wide already, as you know, but so it would be right next to the heating and air conditioning. There's no other place we could put it without infringing on a neighbor or the impervious. So that side is the perfect side for not bothering the neighborhood or our neighbor.
There's 500 feet of woods, and as Michael pointed out, it's really not buildable, and it's just a deep gully with a creek and swamp essentially at the bottom.
So it sounds like the location that you selected for the pool equipment is least impactful to your adjacent neighbor.
Yes, that's what we
Versus the
believe.
common area space that is on the other side where you're proposing to locate it.
Yes, that's what we believe, yes.
And we're so close to our other neighbor, it would really, I think, impact them if it was on the other side, negative way.
Any other questions for the applicant?
One question. How old is the house and when did you move in?
The house was built in 2012, so it's 10 years old, and we moved in almost exactly 2 years ago, September 2020.
Okay, thank you.
I've got one question for you. Are you happy with the arc?
Yes, actually, we are.
I would rather have the rectangle, I would rather have decking all around it, but I do realize the predicament we're in. So we felt
Right.
like that was a fair design, but I would prefer the rectangle.
And that was one of the suggestions that the city, in trying to do the shifting of pervious and impervious, that was one of the solutions as to how to accomplish that.
Mhm.
Okay.
And we also had a pool designer that could see things we couldn't see. We have never had any experience with setbacks of any kind. And luckily, the pool company also saw that in our plot, in our lot. And so she was a great help in helping us come up with a second alternative with the arc. So it was both you guys and
The
we
planning,
had no experience in it.
yeah, the planning department did, I think, go above and beyond helping us.
And I noticed, so someone swims laps. So you can
That's me.
swim with a straight line lap. It's not that wide, but that arc doesn't cut it into the longest
Correct.
part of the
That's right.
pool. So
And
you can put your line there.
we partly need that because my husband has a form of rheumatoid arthritis, and swimming is one of the things that he can do without hurting his body. and we could heat it, which would help. The cold water hurts when you have an arthritis like he has. So that keeps him fit and
Thank you.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you.
We'll have you back up in a little bit if you want to make any closing statements.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone wishing to speak in support?
No, we just have those letters of support.
Okay.
We have no-
Do we want to read those in the record, or
Well, it's
or at least
already
the address?
Published. Oh,
Yeah,
we have this here. What is that?
yeah, it's in the packet, but I can read the addresses.
Yeah, well, let's just read the
Yeah.
addresses in. Thanks.
Two 2155 McFarland Lane in the Brayburn Neighborhood Association.
Thank you. Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Sir, if you'd like to come back up and make any closing remarks, you're welcome to. It's completely optional. It's up to you. Are there any questions for staff? I'll close the public portion of this meeting and open V22-182157 McFarland Lane for a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion to approve V22-18, both parts of that variance to do with the impervious setback and the location of the pool equipment in accordance with the site plan by Survey Land Express Incorporated, received, I believe that says August 1st. It's a little hard to read, but I think it says August 1st. Okay. With the conditions as recommended by the staff that the site plan, as we said, and that the water quality treatment be provided in accordance with the requirements of the city development engineer.
I'll second that motion. Any discussion?
Nope.
I would just say that, thank you very much for working with the city staff. It looks like you've done everything possible here. You do have a hardship in the way the land is sloped and the setbacks, which quite frankly, I don't quite understand where the 10-foot comes. I understand the 10-foot is a requirement, but it doesn't seem to go with this kind of zoning where you have a 5-foot setback. So I don't know if that was something in the very beginning that was overlooked or what, but it doesn't make sense to me. And I think that's a hardship in itself, that you have a 10-foot setback on top of only 5 feet next to you, to the other house or whatever the number is. So I think you've done everything possible. I don't think this affects anybody from a safety standpoint in the community. And I don't think I think you've done everything possible to make this in accordance with a variance.
To add on to what Paul had said, you have the support of your adjacent property owners, which is good. You've worked to minimize and mitigate any or as much of an impact as possible into that buffer area. And I feel like we meet all four of the considerations that we have to take into account in making our decisions.
I totally agree, and the HOA support is always helpful. I think that's the most important part, that your governing body in the neighborhood is in support, so.
Any other comments at all? So we have a motion for V22-18 to allow a proposed pool to encroach in the 75-foot impervious setback and to allow a pool equipment to be less than 10 feet from the property line. That motion was made by Don Kurt, second by Hodge Patel, and there are two conditions with that motion. Per the site plan from Survey Land Express Incorporated, received on August 1st by the Community Development Department. And the second condition is a water quality treatment to be provided for all new impervious surfaces as determined by the city developer and engineer through the permitting process. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. The motion passes unanimously.
Adam.
Please continue to work with the city staff. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Will staff please present V22-19725 Cooper Sandy Cove?
The property address is 725 Cooper Sandy Cove, and the applicant is seeking the following variance. Allow lot coverage for AG1 zone property that fronts a public street to increase from a maximum allowed 20% to 23.3%. The site is a 1.01 acre parcel located in the Lake at Cooper Sandy subdivision as shown in Exhibit A. The property is zoned AG1 and is located in the rural Milton overlay district. Applicable setbacks for a lot are 60-foot front, 50-foot rear, and 25-foot side. The house was built in 1998, and Fulton County zoning setbacks were applicable in 1998, which are the same as City of Milton's current AG1 setback requirements. The applicant is seeking a variance to allow the lot coverage for an AG1 zone property that fronts a public street to increase from a maximum allowed 20% to 23.3% for a proposed pool and pool decking. The applicant bought the property in 1998 and is the original owner. The city began this requirement of the 20% lot coverage for properties that fronts a public street in 2012. The applicant met with city staff on July 19th to discuss the lot coverage variance request for the proposed pool and pool decking as shown in Exhibit B. The applicant was also agreeable to water quality treatment for all new impervious surface through the permitting process. The applicant is proposing to reduce the existing lot coverage by removing 1,000 square feet of existing driveway. The total square footage for the proposed pool and pool decking is 992 square feet. When you include 1,000 square feet of the driveway to be removed, this is an overall reduction of 8 square feet on site. The non-compliant playground that does not meet the 50-foot rear setback requirement will be removed as detailed on the site plan. Photos of the property are shown in Exhibit C. And you can see the playground in the bottom left-hand corner. And in the bottom right is the area where the part of where the impervious surface will be removed. And here's the arc shape. And I'll expand a little more on what the applicant is proposing. The applicant received support from the northern and southern property owners at 715 and 735 Cooper Sandy Cove. And they also received HOA support from the Lake at Cooper Sandy HOA. You can see the letter of support detailed in Exhibit E. And the Homeowners Association. The DRB met on September 13th and had the following comments. DRB recommends approval of this variance request. If approved, staff recommends the following conditions. Per the site plan from Chase Bell PLS received on August 2nd, 2012 by the Community Development Department, and water quality treatment to be provided for all new impervious surfaces as determined by the city development engineer through the permitting process. I wanted to make a note on the first recommendation. So after discussing with the applicant yesterday, they realized that cutting on the curve is a little more difficult than they anticipated. And I'll let the applicant expand on it, but they're going to propose keeping the 1,000 square feet reduction, but doing more in the rectangle area rather than cutting on the curve. And that would change the staff recommendation if you go this route because you can't approve for the site plan.
Well, if you just approve with the site plan as a condition, they will have to come back again to modify the condition. So instead, if you just stick to the removal of 1,000 square feet. That would give them a flexibility of wherever they want to remove it from.
All right, any questions for staff?
I do. So we typically approve per the site plan, so we've got a record that we can go back to and verify. Is staff asking for the recommendation to be just set it at 1,000 square feet and that can be determined later in terms of where that's going to be removed from? Because that seems a little more vague than just allowing them.
It is vague, but we can make sure that they are removing 1,000 square feet when they come back for a permitting process, you know. But if you make it conditioned to the site plan, it becomes difficult to change because we have to kind of stick to the site plan. And right now, the site plan is showing the curve and a rectangle and everything, right?
Yeah, correct, yeah.
We're just trying to be more lenient to the applicant.
Yeah.
Michael, can you bring up the site plan? I'm trying to see. It's going to be. Can you zoom in on that at all or not?
Let's see.
Okay, so there are two large trees that are on that site plan. Can you walk us through what the shaded area is and what
Yeah.
that represents?
Absolutely.
It's the diagonal shading area that
Yeah.
I'm referring to.
So look at the tree. This is the tree root zone, which is 1.5 feet from the edge of the tree. There's just a circumference. And this area right here that's dashed is encroaching it, and it's noted on the site plan. And the maximum encroachment is 25%, and both of these trees are under that requirement at 17.6%, and this one is 8.4.
And you said the maximum encroachment was what, 25%?
Correct.
Okay.
How many square feet of concrete would it take to get to 20% be removed?
Yeah, that'd be quite
A lot,
Yeah.
because, but then their garage is right here, which they would need a driveway all the way up there.
So, yeah, so 1,000
The
square
only
feet.
excess driveway that they have is that the second one that it makes them exit, the circle.
The
That's
front.
all extra, really, you know.
Yeah, so 1,000 square feet is 2.3%. So to get down an additional 3.3, would that be 1,500? Get down to 23. Get from 23.3% to 20.
Can you show then can you show in this diagram then where we think we're going?
Yeah,
As
so,
far as-
and I talked to the applicant yesterday, and he couldn't be here because of COVID, so I know he's watching on the
Okay,
on YouTube. But from our discussion, he just wanted to expand the rectangle just more and just not remove any of the curve due to the difficulty of just removing curved concrete. Maybe Lorraine can expand a little bit more on that.
And condition that.
Yeah.
I guess the other question I have is, why are we talking about water treatment here? We don't have any, 75-foot requirement here or anything. Why are we talking about water treatment?
So because you're over the 20% maximum, anything going over, we're going to hit you with water quality for that amount.
It's exceeding the impervious area, so we're trying to make sure the stormwater gets treated before it leaves the site. So that's the reason we have that flow well.
Okay, is the requirement, though, a lot coverage requirement doesn't necessarily have to do with impervious space,
Yeah,
does it?
Yeah, lot coverage is impervious. We're calculating impervious surfaces on the site. That's equal to lot coverage.
Okay. I thought there were other reasons for that 20% requirement.
No, 20% lot coverage means we actually can have 20% of impervious surfaces on that particular lot. So this lot is 43,896 square feet. 20% of that is 8,779. So if they want to go back to 20%, they have to go back to total, including proposed, whatever, 8,779 square feet. That's right now their total impervious is 10,237. So that's like they have to remove 2,000 pretty much, you know. Not exactly 2,000, but I can tell you what number is that. 10.
Michael, can you point out on the site plan the location of the primary and secondary septic fields?
Yes.
And then also the location of the pool pump equipment?
Yeah, so here's the primary, and from talking to the homeowner, secondary is over here as well. And then the drainage pump right here, which is going to filter the water out, is right here. I pump out the water.
Is the 1,000 square feet, is that going to go to grass? Is that what it says on here?
Yeah, essentially, yeah, or dirt, but I suspect for lawn care purposes, you make it grass.
But I'm still a little confused. If what they're taking out and making into pervious space meets the requirement, why are we still talking about
No,
water
it doesn't
treatment?
meet the requirement.
It does
because-
not, so you need,
Yep.
Yeah, they're over
That's
by
why the reason
3.3%.
they're back, yeah.
Because when this went through Fulton County, this requirement didn't exist.
okay, so I'm sorry, I thought it was to get it down to the 20. It's still going to be at over 3.3.
Exactly,
I got
yeah.
you, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, a net negative of 8 square feet.
Any additional questions for staff? Thank you. The applicant like to come forward, or the applicant's representative? Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, everybody. My name is Larry Ann Bernard. This is Julian Bernard. We are with Atlanta Premier Pools. We're here on behalf of Mr. Collins. Unfortunately, he has COVID and he couldn't be here today. I know he really wanted to be here today and make his case, so we apologize.
Can you pull the mic down a little bit? We're just having trouble.
Sorry.
No problem, thank you.
All right, so his address is 725 Cooper Sand Covert, Alpharetta. Mr. Collins is requesting a variance to build a pool. The pool and the deck together will be a total of 992 square feet. So we're going to have 992 square feet of impervious area. But we are removing 1,000. So we're taking 1,000 away and removing 992. Sorry, we're taking 1,000 away and putting 992. This property was built in 1998, and that was before the 2012 20% max lot covered. So it currently has 23.3. So as of now, it has 23.3. And we initially, when we first started this, we wanted to be at 26. But after working with the city of Milton staff, we decided to take their recommendation and take it down to 23.3 by removing the impervious area. So there's no change. It's a trade-off. And then one thing that I want to point out is what Michael was talking to you guys about, that the homeowner, he prefers to remove some of the driveway from the end instead of doing the curves. And that's just because it will look prettier, like we don't have to cut in rounds, and that's going to chip and not look nice at all. But if we take it everything from the top, then you have a straight cut and everything looks much neater. Mr. Collins' neighborhood has many properties that has pools, including both of his neighbors, the neighbors in front of him. So we don't foresee an issue with neighbors. As a matter of fact, we have the neighbor support letters and we have HO approval. And I wanted to emphasize again that if relief is granted, we will not be building over the 23.3 that it currently has. That's it.
Can you pull up the proposed site plan and just kind of finger on there where you're talking about the removing the concrete?
So
Show us the driveway
okay, so at
and
the
how
beginning,
you're,
when we first started the process, we were going to remove this little shade area right here where you see the curves. But instead of removing from there, we're just gonna make this space bigger. So instead of taking only this, we'll take more of the driveway over here on the end. And that way, we're still gonna be removing 1,000 square feet. That doesn't change.
Do you know, based on this site plan, where you'll have to go to get to that 1,000 square feet? I mean, how much further are you going to have to remove?
We don't know exactly, but I would guess to the edge of the garage right here.
Oh, can you
lost
go back
it.
to the,
It went off. I don't know what happened.
There we go.
can you show us again?
Again.
Right, somewhere like right here, this straight line right here.
How will they access the garage if we're removing?
That's what
Driveway.
that was what I was getting to.
Excuse me?
How are you going to access the is the
Well, no.
garage right there?
Yes, the garage is right here, but it won't impact the garage. It'll be at the edge, right over here. So you still have way into the garage. It's just these little shades are it's a very small square footage here. So we just have to cut this straight line right here.
Has the city gone and looked at, I mean, if they do go up to the garage, is that the 1,000 square feet?
But
That's anticipated?
something they will calculate. We don't know on top of, like, we can't just figure out looking at this as such. But
Well, I understand. I don't want to give them a variance for the 1,000 square feet and then they end up, well, we couldn't do it because it's going to cut into the garage. So we're just at 750 now.
But correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that once we go through the permitting process, you guys will be reviewing the site plans, and the new site plans will be showing the 1,000 square feet.
Yeah, we would want the calcs provided on the pool permit to confirm dimensions and square footage totals, so it's on record.
Say that again?
Yeah, through the pool permit, we'd want the calculations on the actual pool permit detailing the 1,000 square feet is removed. So it would be on record through the permit process.
But the county wouldn't approve our permit unless we can show to them on the site plans that we're removing that 1,000 square feet.
Could you point out, is this all new decking? I see the pool, it's a proposed pool, and then next to it, is that all decking or is that new decking and what is the decking?
It's new deck, but the deck is only 600 square feet. It's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
The space that's to the left of the pool, the other side where you're pointing right now, the other side?
This side?
Okay, and then up? What is, up a little more? What is, up, the next block up
Here,
to the left of that? Yeah, what is that right there? What
this
is-
area,
Yeah, what is all that?
there's nothing, that's the root, that Michael was
Critical
mentioning.
root zone.
Yeah, the root zone.
Oh,
That's not decking,
Okay,
yeah.
so that's,
It's just shaded so you can see this, I guess, the 17%.
but the square around it, the darker line around that area, what does that represent?
Oh,
That's a contour line.
Which line?
No,
this, I think. Yeah.
This?
So those are.
yeah, well, around the area
drainage
that's,
lines. Those are drainage lines, right?
around the area that's hatched, which you
Yes.
just explained, there's some dark lines, there's like a rectangle, right, a dark
Those
rectangle?
are drainage lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, all around, that dark rectangle, what is that?
These right here are lines from the pool. So return lines and suction lines,
That,
because the pool equipment is right
I
here.
got you. Okay, and then the opposite side of that rectangle, so to the right,
This right here?
no, up, yeah, that line right there, up and down, the vertical line right there, what does that represent?
These are also lines, so it could be, these are return lines and these are lights, so pool lights. So everything goes right here. So the pool equipment is here, the sub panel, all electrical, everything is in this area. So all these lines are just either return lines, suction lines, or light conduits.
Underground.
Those are all underground,
They're all
Yes,
Right.
all underground.
Yeah, thank
except for
you.
the pool equipment.
Yeah,
I couldn't make out if that was some kind of,
yeah, it kind of got
Decking or
blurry up
structure?
in there, yeah.
okay. Thank you.
So when you get neighbor approval, did they look at the site plan? And is that how, I mean, what schematic or diagram did they look at? Or,
I don't know if they looked at the site plans. The homeowner talked to his neighbors. I would say he showed them the design, which kind of shows where the all the pool stuff and the size, but I don't know exactly what they saw.
Okay.
I will
So
say-
that's an unknown.
Yeah, I will say, if I'm not mistaken, I think both properties on both sides have pools already
Yes.
Yeah, that's
And the
in
ones
the
in front of
picture.
them.
And across.
and across.
This neighborhood does not have a pool on it. So like almost every property in there already has a pool.
Yeah, I'm not questioning the pool. I'm questioning the site plan and not conditioning this to the site plan because, ultimately we're responsible. I don't know what the neighbors were told when they gave their approval for, we don't know that. So,
Yeah, I would say that the neighbor's approval is based on the pool, not much as the driveway.
yeah, but that driveway is, unless I'm misunderstanding they're going to extend
Well,
this
we're
way.
Reducing the driveway, not extending.
Would it make more sense to,
They're reducing
and I'm just having,
in towards the house.
it's really up to you, is to defer this case, allow you to go revise the site plan and then come back before us versus for us trying to figure out what's actually going to be done, because we do condition almost every case or request on a site plan or application for reference purposes. And when we start adding and taking things out, it makes it very confusing when they go to through the process of issuing the CO and going through the permit process.
But that's another month away though. So they have to come back in a month.
That's right.
Yeah.
That would be right if we did that.
Has the pool already been permitted? Or is they
No.
going to
No,
have to?
it's not.
Yeah.
So if we approve the 1,000 square feet, they're going to have to get the pool permit.
Right.
And that's going to have the
The new
impervious
site plans, yeah.
issue or impervious stuff as well.
Because the way I'm looking at this picture, both neighbors have pools. And
Mhm.
the reason have to have this conversation is because the first driveway that was built in a U instead of straight like the other two. Right? That's the only reason it's over the 20%.
Let's see if there's any more questions for the applicant, and then when we make a motion, we can go into
Talk about
discussion on it. Any additional questions?
No, in this process, I assume you've looked at then trying to get that extra 3%. I don't know how many square feet, how many square feet is that extra 3%?
To get to the 20%?
Yeah,
20,
It's a lot.
I'm just
It's
wondering.
Yeah, it's
So
over
so reducing,
2,000.
you'd almost wipe the pool out, is that?
Yeah, it would probably take off half the driveway or more.
No,
just to
the
get a
pool itself, have you looked at reduction? The pool,
We
the
did
pool area?
reduce- It got, the deck was originally, I think, 200 or 300 square feet bigger, and they reduced the deck size.
Mhm.
And the pool is already pretty small. It's 14 by 28 compared to neighbor pools, which are really, really big.
Okay, and maybe you said that, Michael, I didn't catch if you said that in the beginning there. Okay, thank you.
To the best you can, help me understand the hardship here for the property. Your goal is to trade.
Mhm.
So what would be the problem with trading up to the 20% and
Well,
going
To get
within the place?
Yeah, so to get to the 20%, right now we're removing 1,000 to set 23. So to get to the 20%, we already have to remove around 2,500 square feet of driveway. And to be able to add the pool, that would be another 1,000, so there'll be literally no driveway. The only way to get the pool in at the 20%.
So I noticed on the map, this one has a driveway down the side plus the circle drive.
Yes.
Most of the other houses, or at least the two houses next to it, have a single driveway.
Mhm.
Do you know taking out the circle drive would how
it-
much
I
that
don't know
would be to
exactly.
make a straight drive?
I don't know exactly how much it is, but I don't think it will still get us under the 20%. Because we would have to take out around 3,000. To take out this host section here. But then we still have to go another 1,000 square feet to get the pool in at that 20% still.
Well, the way I'm looking at it, just if you're taking out a small portion here of 1,000 square feet in the back,
Mhm.
by the look of the site plan, the circle drive would easily be an additional 1,000 square
1,500.
feet. So you're
Yeah.
talking about 2,000 buying back 900 and change. So you're still 1,200, rough numbers, 1,100 less, which gets us,
But we would still be over
Closer.
20%. Yeah, we'd be closer, but still over 20%.
so it's,
So we'd still have, I guess, this variance.
Potentially.
Yeah,
but we don't know what the numbers are.
yeah, we don't have the exact numbers.
Well, if you're going to come back, if it ends up being deferred and you're coming back, you could look at all these possibilities, right? So. Okay.
Any other questions?
I do have one more question. So I mean, the impervious areas that we're talking about, the 23+%, are there flow wells that are going to be included at all to control where the water is being diverted
Yeah,
with the
so,
additional?
As Michael stated, when we go through permitting, any amount of flow wells they ask for will be installed. So once engineers see all that and tell us, we need 2 or 3, then we'll install as many as they need.
Okay. Do you have any other questions for them?
I don't have any more questions.
So are you open to a deferral of the case?
We were hoping not to have to wait another month, but ultimately
Okay.
it's,
Michael, can I ask a question? So the site plan, we condition these variances to the site plan. Can you just revisit why we do that?
Yeah, so when we go through the permitting process, we'll match up the site plan to make sure everything is exactly the same, which was approved, and to make sure nothing gets missed. And so it's on record.
I mean, we can condition the removal of whatever part of the driveway we want, right?
Can you condition the removal of the driveway to a future site plan that reflects?
1,000 square feet.
I mean, we're gonna have to write this in real time
The
to
site
be
plan
sure that we,
They will use to get the permit.
right?
Well, this was brought up in our BZA briefing with Paul, and at least Hodge, correct me. Did that seem like that would be an issue if we did condition it with the square footage?
My understanding is we were conditioning it on a site plan
Okay.
and not necessarily overall square footage.
Are we having discussion within us yet, or is this
Well-
still discussion?
Why? I mean,
Just curious,
We're just
No,
asking.
because I want to ask a
I wanna-
question that is,
to who? To them?
no, not to them. I
Okay,
want to
for
ask a
us,
question
right.
to us.
Yeah,
We're
I
not-
do too.
we're not there
so-
Okay. Check.
So if you'd like to have a seat at this point, do we have anyone wishing to speak in support? Anybody wishing to speak in opposition? Okay, and we're out of the 10 minutes, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions for staff?
No, not at this point.
So do we have to make a motion and then
I'll-
discuss?
I just want to make a point that their request is to allow to go up to 23.3%.
Right.
So they're not particularly asking for 100,000 square feet to be removed in the request. So you can just stick to the 23.3% as a condition. I mean, that's a request.
So wherever they get it, as long as they hit that percent or less, then we're in
That is
good
a
shape.
possibility, but also possibility that if you want to really see site plan, just tell them that come back next month. That's
And
also-
what are they currently at?
Currently, they are at 23.3, that's what there is. They're just 8 square feet. It's not gonna make a percent, like maybe it's 0.01%, So they are at 23.3 right now, and they're just trading off the square feet, and they're gonna still stay at 23.3.
I have a question about that. The fact that the 20 wasn't put in until, 2011? So there's no grandfathering in the 23. They were in compliance with the 23.3 until they started wanting to do some new work, right?
Right.
So there's no grandfathering in?
Well, because they're putting the new pool and they need a new permit for the pool, we need to make sure that they don't go over 20%. So we won't bother them to, if they were not asking for another permit, they could live with that driveway and whatever they had, 23%. That was completely grandfathered. But because they came back for a permit, we have to apply the new rule that is already set in place.
Okay.
So sorry, we're still talking.
Are there any questions for staff at all? Any additional or?
Well, I do, yeah. So in order to condition, let's just say an approval, what would be your recommendations as far as doing that? Just to be sure, I mean, you all see the things that fall through the cracks when.
It's off the percentage, right?
That will probably be, anyway, that's a request to stay at 23%. That can be. But as a condition, yeah, we really usually have site plan, but you can say that the trade-off of 1,000 square feet as a condition.
So you'd rather us say 1,000 square feet than to?
Because they already agreed to that number. It's
You
not
could-
something we proposed, but
But would that be better than saying they need to stay under the 23 point, or at or below the 23.3%?
What is more specific?
Well, I think I would do it where it would incorporate both, and I would also do it specifically detailing where the 1,000 square feet of driveway would be coming out. That's already in my head. I can
Do you have
that.
it? Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Or not necessarily driveway, just impervious surface?
Could be anything.
No, I can do it to whatever condition.
It could
Y'all
be
can
the
agree or
pool
disagree.
Right.
Let me,
But
They
I
said
can,
driveway.
you can, right, that's what they're suggesting, the driveway.
let me go ahead and close the public portion of this meeting. I will open the floor for a motion in a second.
So I'll make a
Give me a
mo,
second.
okay, go ahead.
On V22-19725 Cooper Sandy Cove.
Well, I'll make a motion to defer this one for the purposes of discussion for the moment. If I get a second, then we can
Second.
open it up. All right.
Discussion?
Okay. So
So we've got a motion to defer V22-19 from Adam and a second from Hodge. Discussion?
So there's just a couple things that I'm looking at is, one, obviously there's a reason for the 20%. It's, water runoff, it's, water issues, it's impervious to the property, it's to maintain, the water on your own lot and not deflect it to other people's lots, right? And it's also, for whatever reason, not overbuild, like they pointed out.
Right.
From a hardship perspective, I don't know. They want a pool, they've got a lot of concrete on the front. Does it make sense there's a hardship? I don't know, but there's a lot of work that has to be done to get this done.
I kind of
No.
see it as a hardship to remove that entire front driveway. Because if they said, okay, forget this process, we're just going to stick with what we've got, we still got 23.3%, and then we have no flow wells. So I think this proposed plan is going to increase the water runoff, whatever, with the flow wells and keep it at 23.3%. And if both homeowners on either side are fine with it, then,
And the HOA,
I agree.
right?
and the HOAs,
The
I
HOA.
agree.
yeah.
I think if they tore up their driveway, that's going to put a hardship on the entire neighborhood, much more so than it is putting a pool in. Their neighbors all have pools. The people across the street have pools. I think deferring it another month is just wasting their time.
My concern is that we're not really tying it to a site plan is the biggest challenge.
But
So
it's to the
Yeah,
percent.
I don't necessarily
think-
I can figure that one out.
But on the site
Um,
plan, we've got the location of the pool and the pool decking and all that.
As long as they can get it permitted and stay within the 23.6%, I don't think it's our business.
Yeah, the permitting's gonna have to take care of it, but I can build a couple conditions that fit within that.
Yeah, my comment is, I've kind of changed my mind, my thinking along the way here. I'm inclined to think that maybe we look at approving this. We have a site plan. They could rearrange everything all they want. They're still going to probably come back and say they want 23.3% next month, and we'll be considering this thing all over again. They are talking about mitigating the runoff. I think it says somewhere here in terms of flow wells, right? So what would we be approving? We would be saying that the property at 23.3% today will still be at 23.3%.
Or less, right? Because
Or-
they're coming back in,
Right.
they're taking it, yeah, some percentage, a little bit less, right?
Right, but worst case is they're at the same coverage that they have now on their property. And
Which doesn't necessarily seem to affect.
it doesn't seem to be a problem. We have a site plan without having to go through another month on their part, the staff's part, our part. I'm inclined to say that the hardship is that they had a property that was trapped in the new requirement in 2011 where they were in compliance, and now because they want to pool in, they're not in compliance. Anyway, I'm inclined now to think that we ought to think about approving it with the site plan as is.
The thing I'll point out is now they're looking for a modification by adding a pool.
Right.
And now we've got to figure out how to get back into compliance with that 20%.
Well, guess I'm saying, why not just approve, let them stay at the 23.3 that they have today? And anything that causes different runoff, maybe we need to put it that way, anything that changes the runoff compared to what they have today has to be covered in that water mitigation that's already listed as a condition by the staff, as a proposed condition. I mean, it's not like we're not doing anything different than what they have today in essence. Anyway, that's my comment.
I don't have a problem with the 23.3% or conditioning it to the square foot. I just want to make sure that the conditions are clear so that when this goes back forward, there's no ambiguity about what we agreed to. So I guess if we're using square footage and a percentage, where they take the concrete from is that sometimes change, in the permitting process, the pool permit process? That's allowable? I mean, a site plan is a great start.
But they're still going to have to get the pool plan.
Right.
So Laura, there's two other things that I wanted to mention. We have recommendations for approval from both neighbors. They're not aware of the changes that we're making. Their homeowner association is not aware of the changes that we're approving. And what if the HOA has opposition to them removing their driveway in a particular location that we're talking about?
That's what causes me pause with deviating from the site plan, because that's what we are told, we need this to have as, the Bible for what they're going to do. And that's why, in this process, I don't know how that site plan is used. Was it shown to the HOA? It's just, I'm not familiar or comfortable with how the site plan is used up until this point. So, I understand it's another month, but.
But if
I can't.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know I can't, I am not the neighbor on either side, but the less disturbance of a property in the front is going to be beneficial to everybody.
It's moving to the back.
Does requiring the site plan to be updated cause more disturbance?
No, but if we were to have them wait a month to get a new site plan, get the neighbors to reapprove, all that kind of stuff, they see less disturbance up front. I think they're gonna be fine with that.
Which is what's happening.
Just why bring it back for a
Okay,
month? That's all I'm saying.
so the HOA would have to approve any exterior modifications, including driveways, no matter what, right? So if they've already got an approval based on this one, if that's what they have, right? they should be, if they decide to do something different, should be requesting HOA approval for that. They should be. I mean, they don't have to, and, we can't make them do it, but they should. The way I look at it is, you can take 1,000 square feet of driveway out from either the back portion or the circle, right? I mean, but ultimately, that's going to be, if the HOA didn't approve it, they're going to come back and say, hey, we didn't approve that. You got to fix it. Turn it around the other way, or you need to change it or do something we will approve. That's what the HOA should do as a HOA board. That's on them in their neighborhood. For us, we can say, look, it's got to be 1,000 square feet of concrete driveway pulled out of this portion of the lot. And I think we also can condition the rest of the site plan minus the portion of the driveway to be removed. And that would potentially work under a condition, as far as everything, but for the concrete driveway needs to be per the site plan. Does that make sense?
I follow what you're saying. Yeah.
Right? So you got to do everything except for the driveway modification has to be per this site plan.
We,
Yeah.
Okay?
I'm
Does
okay with
Does
that.
that make sense?
well, are we inclined, I guess I would say we have to figure out if we're inclined to improve the 23.3 when they come back with some other modification on how they want to do it or not.
It would,
If we kind of in a mind say we're ready to approve the 23.3, I don't understand the argument as to why they even want to change this plan. I know that apparently they want to take out this curved part and move it over here to the back.
it's just
but-
going to be easier.
Well, I
apparently.
don't, I mean,
It
but
it doesn't matter. We can tell them
I-
no, and we
they
can say
put a
do it
plan
for
in.
this.
I mean, let's approve the plan in, unless our concern is we want to get down to 20.
To be honest, my opinion would be take it out of the back. And if it's inconvenient to their garage, that's kind of on them, but take it out of the back or take it out of the circle. Like, that's where I'm at,
To get to 20 or 23.3?
to get to the 23.3.
Okay, so if the
To
23.
no more than 23.3, just get the 1,000 square feet out. That's where I would take it out of the rear
Why would we not
portion.
just approve what they've done here? I mean, if we're inclined to go with the 23.3, why would they not? I mean, they have some reason they don't want to do it this way, but that's not clear. to
Because
me.
if you don't take that out, you're not getting the 1,000 square feet.
Yeah, they need to take it out as they proposed here.
Right, we can do that.
I mean,
I mean-
I don't, maybe, can we still ask questions to staff? I don't, at this point?
What is
Can't.
proposed, though, is
So
the
it's just among us.
23.3. That's what's proposed, right?
But if we approve it per the site plan, then they'll have to come back to us if it's a different site plan.
Right.
And if they want to adjust this little area in the
For whatever
curve,
reason, yeah.
then they'd have to come back to us.
Right.
And I'm all for getting the conditions as specific as possible. So, I mean, but, we still have this unknown of, the HOA and the neighbor.
But I agree in that we're taking adjustments off the front of the driveway, and they're taking adjustments off the front of the driveway, moving it to the back, which is going to cause less heartache for the neighborhood. It's not going to be noticeable in the neighborhood. And so I don't, I mean, if
I agree with that.
Yeah.
You don't have to convince me of where the adjustment is best. I just want to make sure that what we approve is what gets taken forward to the permit. That's why the site plan is, this is what we're going to do. This is what we approve. So if we can write the conditions so that there's no ambiguity.
Is this North?
Well, I don't like the idea. My last comment, okay, I don't like the idea of putting anything in that's not to a site plan. I think we need the site plan. In my mind, I think we need to either approve this site plan or go with a deferral. That's my thought.
What, I mean, okay.
My concern is getting back to where that garage door is at. How do we even know if there's enough to get to 1,000 square feet by lining right up with that.
Because when you go through the site plan process, that's what you discover. Correct?
But if we
So
approve
we don't
it,
know it because we
We
don't have the
don't, yeah, we
numbers.
don't
We
have the
don't have the
numbers.
calculation.
We won't know.
but
That's
if
what
we
I'm
approve
having
it to the 23.3 and they put it, and they do the garage, that piece, and it's only 800, then they got to go cut another 200 out of the front of the driveway like they have in the site plan.
So,
Still goes back to me that the adjacent property owners gave a letter of recommendation based on a specific site plan, and now
Right.
we're making changes in terms of the location of where things were going to happen, and they're maybe unaware of it.
but is it
Same with the
going,
homeowner association.
Right.
would our recommendations negatively impact the neighbors?
We don't know that. Their recommendation came based on whatever was presented to them at that time, which we would.
Well, we don't even know if this was submitted to them, right? I mean, they may have asked, hey, we want to put a pool in, we got to get a variance, and, you know, we're not changing the size of the lot, we're just getting a pool, you go with the pool.
The neighbors' letters are approving the 23.3% variance, not the site plan. And 23.3% and a pool. That's what they got approval from the,
Is the request.
right. They don't,
So let me throw this out there. On the site plan, they're taking and cutting out these portions of the driveway. Right here in the middle of the driveway, let's call it the middle of the driveway, right? Where these curves are, and adding grass, right? So, you know, I don't care for that all that much. I don't care for grass in the middle of the driveway, but I've seen it in neighborhood around the corner here. They actually have a grass strip running the length of the driveway in the middle of the driveway. Now that offsets concrete, right? So, you know, is that what looks better? I mean, you put grass in kind of a weird curve shape here and here, or,
No, that's not
you know,
gonna-
strip it right down the middle of the driveway. How much does that change it?
no, they're just
I don't
going to extend the yard, and they're basically going to cut out the existing driveway and just put grass there.
know. Okay.
There's no, it
There's
wouldn't
no
be-
driveway there.
Yeah, there's no driveway right there, according to the pictures.
Any other discussion? We want to take a vote on the motion
Motion was to defer.
to defer.
Super.
Let me read it back in. So we've got a motion to defer V 22-19 that was made by Adam Danella and the second by Hodge. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Said aye.
All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Hey.
How many was that? 3, 4 nays.
4 nays, so the motion doesn't pass. We'll open it for a new motion.
All right, I'm gonna do a motion. What number?
19.
Where? Oh, here it is. Okay. I'm gonna do a motion to approve V 22-19 with, to allow, you know, as written, to allow the lot coverage not to exceed 23.3%, with the conditions that the water quality treatment be provided for all new impervious surfaces as determined by the city development engineer through the permitting process, that the minimum number of flow wells required during the permitting process be included, that there be 1,000 square foot reduction in concrete from the driveway of the property no more forward than the front edge of the home. and that the pool, no, excuse me, that the site plan that we're approving per the site plan, but for the modifications to the driveway.
Are you good?
No, it's the site plan of August 2nd, 2022. But for the revisions to the driveway, which need to be 1,000 square feet behind the front corner of the home. So basically, from here back,
I'll second all of that.
but everything else stays the same.
Okay, so we have a motion by Adam and a second by David Jackson to conditionally approve the site plan by Chase Bell, received by the Community Development Department on August 2nd, 2022, with the specific stipulations on the site plan that the removal of the concrete drive, that portion of it would have to be behind the house and would have to be equal to 1,000 square foot reduction in the concrete surface. And the lot coverage is not to exceed 23.3%.
Low walls and the water treatment, so.
And then the other condition on that was the water quality treatment to be provided for all new impervious surfaces as determined by the development engineer through the permitting process. Is there discussion on that?
I can go with that.
Does that make sense? Is there
Makes
anything
sense.
Potentially missed?
Yeah, I mean, I feel better about the neighbors, you know. Their letters are high level. Where the driveway was coming out.
So you do have it, so you do have in there, you stated it, I think we picked it up, that it is per the site plan except for the driveway modification. So all this other stuff
Everything
will
else.
apply.
Yeah, everything else needs to apply.
That says corner back,
Behind
corner of the house,
Yeah,
From the front of the house going back.
totally.
right.
So technically that could stay.
It could. Just wherever they want to take it from the front of the house back, they take out the 1,000 square feet. So they could do, any number of things, but that's what it would be. It would be no further forward so that it doesn't impact the visibility from the street.
That's
That's good.
from the front corner of the house. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, pick whichever corner, it doesn't matter. In the front of the house, wherever that is, the front
Okay, so let
part of the house.
me read this motion again, make sure that we've got everything documented correctly. If for some reason I missed something,
Okay.
let me know.
Yeah, this is what I did. I just went 1, 2, 3 behind, front, the most part of the home. More than 23. Or, yeah, like you said, Joe.
So to repeat the motion, it is per the site plan from Chase Bell, received by the City of Milton Community Development, August 2nd, 2022, but for the driveway modifications that are on that site plan. The 1,000 square foot reduction will be behind the front rightmost part of the home. So it will not be in the front yard. It will be towards the rear of the property from the front building line. There will be no more than 23.3% of total lot coverage. Flow wells will be required as provided by the new impervious surfaces as determined by the city development engineer through the permitting process. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The motion passes unanimously. Please continue to work with the city staff as you work through the permitting process. Thank you. Item 7 is consideration of appeals and secondary variances.
None.
Item 8 is old business.
None.
Item 9 under new business.
Yes. Let me pull up the slide. Give me one moment. So staff thought it'd be a good idea to create an internal SOP for variances in the future, especially if there's a non-compliant structure on site when the BZA denies it. So Bob thought it'd be a great idea to have something in writing, so streamline it, 5 years, 10 years, a week from now, that we have a structure on where things go. And we would love to hear your feedback on your thoughts on some improvements or any comments or suggestions.
The one comment that I have is that if a property that's located in a subdivision is denied, I think we should be notifying the homeowner association that it was denied.
Yeah.
Everything that you're seeing is already in the code. We're just showing it to you.
Well, I appreciate that because, people ask us this stuff. I mean, we make the decisions, but we don't enforce them, but it's really nice to know the process
Right.
goes behind, that was a lot of work. So
Yeah.
thank you very much. We appreciate being, knowing how this gets handled and when we bump into people in Publix, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I know we're talking about the denial piece on that, but on the approval process, how does the applicant receive notice? Just real briefly.
We do send out letters right away.
Okay.
Within a week, we send out letters of approval and denial both.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll listen to the recording for that last condition.
That's
To
what
make sure I get it perfect.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah.
No, it's good.
And the training is going to be postponed until the next meeting.
Right.
How many cases do we have for the next meeting? Do
We
you
have
know?
4.
We have 4.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for not deferring.
Yeah.
Can we consider maybe moving the training out
I
2
think that
months?
would probably be best,
Yeah,
given the
we
length of
can
the
do that,
meeting.
yeah.
If that's okay.
Glad
Did
there
you get a
wasn't
chance,
5.
Zach, to look at the video?
Well,
Yeah, we'll
do we
figure
know
it
how
out.
much is left? I mean, would it be worth 5:30 to knock it out real fast? I mean, I don't, do we know how much Paul has?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you guys would prefer coming early for the training? We can do that.
I don't know. It's just
open.
a suggestion.
I will say that sometimes when
I
there's
don't know what's going on in a month.
sometimes when there's more items, it moves quicker. I've seen it.
Mhm.
So don't be scared of the 4 number for variances.
Bring it on.
Thanks, Michael.
Yeah.
Item 10 on our agenda.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
We got a motion to adjourn from Adam and a second from Laura.
So that's what it was.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay.